Yoga and the Ptolemaic, but if the psyche has not spontaneously projected out in the Western cosmos the physiology of the body onto the cosmos itself. And when that disintegrated, we have now taken the journey within in psychology and have begun to rediscover that this was a projection of the psyche all along. So that's my spiel for today. Of the
overlay?
Oh, sure. Yes.
And then I'll grab two if you want to
Yes, please. I'll leave those with you. Are you going to make
I'll go
transparency?
do them right now.
Oh, you're just going to make photographs. Okay.
What about, John, what about the scene? Is that mystical enough? Or
It's not. No, it's not. The Essenes were not. The Essenes are a lot of fun,
yeah.
but they're not at these levels that the Hindus, I think, reached, because they really are associated with the whole Jewish matrix. And the Essenes were essentially apocalyptically minded. They were apocalyptists. And there are many theories that the Essenes may have been groups of persecuted Pharisees who were persecuted by the Maccabees, who, when the Maccabees asserted power, there were all these political conflicts, and the Maccabees went after the Pharisees. Alexander Jannaeus, who was the ruler at the time of the Hebrew state, and this was the very important thing about that whole tradition is that the state has reformed for the first time since the collapse of the United Monarchy. They have it back. But now they can't get along with each other. So they're going along persecuting the Pharisees, and Alexander Jannaeus had crucified something like 800 Pharisees in one night while he enjoyed his concubines and so forth. So there are theories that because the Essenes date, the earliest appearance of the text date right from that century or two, or right from the same century that the crucifixions of the Pharisees took place, that they may have been disgruntled Pharisees who went off into the hills and began to envision this coming apocalypse, this coming end. And there was already an apocalyptic tradition building up in the Jewish mind at the time. The book of Daniel had already been written and so forth. So they start writing these texts, and they imagine this primordial, not primordial, but coming eschatological at the end of time, the war of the sons of light with the sons of darkness. And they evolve this very complex history about how they will war with all these other tribes, and finally there will come two messiahs, one sprung from the Davidic line and one from the priestly line, who will lead them in a final battle, and the Hebrews will be restored to their original state of hegemony, and that will be their version of the apocalypse, the reattainment of Jerusalem. But not only did they have that, they have, if you buy the copy of the Dead Sea Scrolls, they have all these wonderful little mythic texts and all kinds of neat little stories and mythologies, the mythology of the giants and the fallen angels, all kinds of stuff. But it all tends to be apocalyptically oriented. And the symbolism is there, but it doesn't tend to strike me as mystical.
Does it have to go back further than that? Like maybe, what, the Zoroastrians, or that's still pretty apocalyptic?
Probably the Kabbalah is my guess. I don't know enough about the Kabbalah to make a statement about it, but I guess generally in the Jewish tradition, the Kabbalah would be the mystical equivalence of all of this.
Yeah, they put Saturn at the top also.
Okay.
Because that is, if you could really see beyond the face of Saturn and the devil, you would see the sky.
There you go.
Type of thing.
Yeah, the Sahasrara.
I mean, it is fascinating, but God, you get lost in that thought.
Yeah, that's right.
Whoa. Thank you.
You're welcome.